Alright, so I can't lie. The hype has been real ever since I heard James Gunn was making a Superman movie. And if you like comic book movies, you know as well as I do that James Gunn has been on a, dare I say, generational run since the first Guardians of the Galaxy. And although I'm a big fan of Man of Steel, I was interested to see what his take on the character would be. Then you start seeing trailers and set photos pop up, and the hype just keeps building and building, and you could tell they were taking Superman back to his roots. I mean, hell, they got this dude wearing red underwear over his suit again. That is some old school shit right there. But having seen the movie now, the question is, did it live up to all the expectations? Did it live up to the Superman name? Well, the answer might surprise you. Nah, I'm just fucking around, dude. This movie rocked. Of course it did. Thank God. This is some real top shelf shit here. And I'm saying that as someone who is not a Superman diehard. He's the superhero template, of course. He's the one that all the other ones have followed. But it's not always super interesting to me. His stories, sometimes he can be a bit of a one-note character, depending on who's writing him. But that's exactly why this one was firing on all cylinders. Because they had me bought in to the character and this world from the first scene. And a big factor of that was the characters themselves and how they were portrayed. You got an obvious standout in David Cornsweet as Superman, who I thought crushed it in the role. He stayed true to what Superman is, but he brought his own edge to, give him a bit more humanity. Give some humanity to this mythological character, this godlike character. And simultaneously, he's gotta be the most Superman looking dude that I've ever seen and that has ever existed. Just saying. But then, of course, we also have to have the crucial counterparts in Lois Lane and Lex Luthor, which are played by Rachel Brosnahan and Nicholas Hoult, respectively. And Lois is, an absolute beauty, of course. And Rachel plays her with this, kind of guarded confidence that really works for this world, this interpretation of the Superman story. And for me, it makes her portrayal possibly the best one yet of the character. I guess it depends on who you are, but for me, that was the case. And Lex is still the most hateful hater that has ever hated, truly. Just how it's supposed to be. It's business as usual, but, Nick Holt makes him entertaining and ruthless. And, let's not forget that there's also a flying dog with a cape in this, and they actually made him cool. Like who could have guessed that was going to work out? Definitely not me. I could have hoped maybe, but nah, he proved to be kick-ass, man. Shout out Crypto. But beyond that, this just oozes comic book vibes. It really does. It does a lot to capture that style, and I think it was pretty successful in doing so. Maybe more so than any comic book movie I have ever seen. It's cosmic and fast-paced with, kick-ass boss fights and intergalactic action scenes that I'm sure cost a fuck ton of money to make, which is always great. I'm on board with that. But it's also heartfelt and emotional, which, that's hard to root against. Who doesn't like that? And its message is an uplifting one. There's an overarching positivity that it leaves you with when it's all said and done. And it's one of those ones that it makes you want to watch it again. And if that's not a sign of a fucking banger, then I don't know what is. Now take all those positives and add on the fact that it was filmed in my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. Shout out Cleveland, man. That is the admittedly biased, but truly special ingredient here for me. Seeing the city displayed all over this thing was absolutely electric. Cleveland made for a good metropolis stand-in for sure, because the city is not highly recognizable, but also the vibe and the architecture have this kind of Art Deco quality to them that is pretty visually interesting. And I definitely got a lot of mileage out of seeing all these places I grew up around, especially seeing them through the lens of this larger-than-life comic book world. Cleveland is the birthplace of Superman, and I just thought it was cool that James Gunn decided to bring it back to where it all started. And it's safe to say that James Gunn has delivered once again. This is exactly the kind of movie I hoped he would make. And they said he couldn't pull off Superman. He said, "The fuck I can't," and proceeded to pull it off in grand fashion. Not to mention, he's doing more Peacemaker too. So I mean, we're just balling over here, man. DC is on the upswing now, and you know what? For that, I feel pretty comfortable giving Superman a recommend and an 8 out of 10. So now, for the drawing this time around, I wanted to recreate that comic feel that the movie gave. So I opted for more of like a, angular graphic style. It made for some interesting play with like the positive and negative spaces, with the all blue background and those pops of colors and grays. It just presented like, high contrast and a good mixing of color and grayscale. I really enjoy the simplicity of it overall. And of course, I'm still using the Artex acrylic markers, but I'm also using some of these nice Prismacolor markers for a good chunk of this too as well. I wasn't sure at first, I hadn't really used them before, but they ended up working really well for this piece. 10 out of 10 would use again. I'll have to find another project for these ones. But yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with how the final image is going to turn out to be. I think it captured the spirit I was going for with it. But you know what, with that said, I think that's enough yapping. And I'll let you run, see how the final turns out. It's been fun. And don't forget, be good, be legendary. Peace.